What's good, YouTube? John from TeamAYB doing Spellbook deck profile and discussion. I'm going to do a quick run through the deck, so if you're only here for the deck profile, you can get that. And then afterwards, I'm going to talk about pretty much every card in the deck except for the blatantly obvious ones like the Secrets, Magician, stuff like that. So we're doing 2 Priestess, 1 World, pretty standard now. 3 Magician, always been standard. 3 Temperance, and 2 Maxi. I mean, Maxi is the only thing that made it seem a little organic to you guys, but I mean, everything else is pretty standard now for Spellbooks. For the spells, we have the 3 Secrets, the 2 Eternity, 3 Crescent, 1 Life, 2 Fate, 2 Master, 2 Wisdom, Power, 2 Tower, 2 Duality, and the 1 Book. Traps, we are playing 2 Fiendish Chain, 1 Torrential, 1 Bottomless, 1 Warning, 1 Compulse, and then 2 Wing Blast. Moving into the extra, we're doing the Lone Soul Drain, D Prison, 2 Decree, 2 Retort, D Fisher, triple MST, 2 Kaiko, and then triple Veiler. Moving into the extra, we are playing the Crimson Blader, Scrap, Stardust, Arcanite, Tempest, Catastor, Colossus, Hierophant, Leviair, Zen Mains, Gachi, Herald, Shining Elf, Dark Mist, and Digusto Phoenix. So that's the deck. I love this. I love where I'm at right now. So if you're here to get some discussion and learn a little bit, that's going to start now. So let's start with the monsters. Maxi. At my personal local, this card is completely dead against certain decks. That's why I'm opting to play 2. Some people are playing 3. If you're going to a big event and you're going to be playing mostly dragons, mostly, non-rogue decks, you play 3 Maxi, obviously. Not obviously, I guess it's not too obvious, but 2 works great. 2 to me is, I don't want to draw all the time because I'm, for game 1, I don't want to get screwed with it, but it's enough. I see it enough to where it's going to help me. The main thing with Maxi that people think with Spellbooks is it's not as threatening when we draw a lot of cards compared to other decks. When dragons draw a lot of cards, they're coming back at you next turn with full force. The most we can do is get a couple Priestess on the... I mean, don't get me wrong. It's devastating to get a couple Priestess out, but we can't do... we have to choose between World and Priestess, and most of the time, we don't need to draw all these cards. We're drawing mostly spells that aren't going to help us. So when we drop Max C, it's not as threatening as other decks. The thing is, it's Max C, and it's usually going to put plays to a halt unless they can push for game. So, honestly, when a Spellbook player drops Max C, they're not drawing into much except spells, and maybe if they get lucky, they'll get a Priestess. But chances are they already have a Temperance, they already have a Priestess, they already have their plays set up. So, I mean, Max C, it's great. But I think once people learn how to play it play against it when they're playing against a Spellbook player, I think it's not going to be that good in this deck because you're not drawing into much that's going to help. You're not drawing into Gorge, you're not drawing into Trag, you're not drawing into Veilers unless you go off my build. But for my personal build, we play 3 Temperance. You need to play 3 of this card. This card wins games. This is a win condition. Why wouldn't you max out on a card that's going to get you a Judgment Dragon, that's going to get you a Dark Arm Dragon? I don't understand why people play 2. It's not cloggy. You need to see this card to win the game most of the time. So you need to play 3 of these, like no questions. 3 Magician, same thing. I mean, I don't have to talk about Magician. Everyone's been playing 3 since the deck started. 1 World. It sucks when you draw this, so why would you play 2? When it's in the deck, it's live. When it's in the graveyard, it's live. You don't want it in the hand. You only need to play 1. So, enough there. 2 Priestess. Without Judgment, you don't want to see this in the hand too much, honestly. Temperance and Life. You're gonna summon her with her effect. Don't get me wrong, but most of the time, when she's in the hand, it's good. I don't know. When she's in the hand, you're gonna drop her 90% of the time. However, you don't need 3 because you're gonna summon her from the deck or you're gonna duality into her. yeah, I play the deck a little bit slower, more controlled with the traps, so you don't need 3. 2 is perfect. Sorry, I already recorded this video and it got cut out after 10 minutes. This is my 3rd time doing it, so I'm a little aggressive on the explanations because I've already said everything like 3 times. 1 book, 2 duality. I talked about in a previous video why duality is so good. With Tower, duality becomes the slow play card of the deck. You have a card, you have a Pot of Greed every single turn. Every turn you get a +1. Why would you want to rush your deck if you're going to win the grind game 90% of the time? Duality is going to let you find your Temperances, find your Priestess, and allow you to win the game. So, I mean, even if you have a World in the hand, you duality into a Wing Blast, you set the Wing Blast, guess what's alive next turn? You just bounce one of their cards, you loop them the turn, or you got rid of a boss monster. Your World is now live in the grave, so you can activate Spellbook of Life. I mean, you need to dig into your deck with this deck. I mean, you don't need to, but it sure as hell helps, because when you dig into secrets, if you're secretless or you're magicianless, you dig into it and you get what you need. I mean, there's been times where I had a set Wing Blast, I go duality into World, activate Wing Blast, next turn I'm life in World back and I'm going to win the duel, because when World resolves, you win the game. Book is just a great card for both offense and defense. It helps resolve magicians. It helps resolve, your cards if, something happens to them. So, Book's great for offense and defense. And then the Tower, like I said, best grind with Dark Worlds, Dragoonides everywhere. You need to keep this alive. You need to be able to play them. You can't tower back your tower, so you're gonna have to wait a turn to recycle it with Fate and Eternity. But you definitely need to play 2. You can't get away with 1 because you want to be able to keep that live as often as you can. 1 power. I'm going to talk about power with Wisdom, and the reason I'm going to do that is because some people play 2 and 2, some people play 2 and 1. I'll tell you why I play 1 power. I play 1 power because when I need power, I will search it from the deck. When I can get a power play off, I will get power to my hand. But when they have 4 back row, I'm not going to swing my powered up magician, or my powered up temper. Why would I just swing into it, get a -1, and lose my monster 90% of the time? I'd rather draw on the Wisdom. This way, instead of opening like this, instead of opening Temperance and Power, summon Temperance, Compulse, I'm screwed a turn, I can go Temperance, Compulse, activate, call traps, activate effect, and now Temperance becomes live, he's protected, they lost the card. I'd rather open this than this. I'd rather open this than this. So that's why I do 2 and 1. It just makes more sense in my head, and it's going to remain that way. I was thinking about dropping this down to 1, but I like a certain ratio with my spellbooks and my monsters and everything, so I'd rather play 2 of this and 1 of that. Alright, 2 Master, 2 Fate. The reason you play 2 of is because when 1 is in the grave, you need to turn the recycle it, you need 1 to be live. It's pretty simple stuff, but that's the theory as to why you're playing 2 of these cards. You want to have this set up every turn. You want to be able to have a Fate, you want to end your turn with a Fate set every single turn. So while you're recycling the 1 that's going to be in the grave and you have 1 in the hand, you don't have 1 live in the deck. So, you're going to need to recycle this 1, search it out, etc. Same thing with Master. You're pretty much playing 1 of these every single turn. So you need 2, you don't need 3. 3 is just going to clog you up. It's just unnecessary. 1 life, you're gonna get this when you want it. It's the same idea as power. You need to set up before you can just activate your life. You need to have your World or your Priestess in the grave. So you don't want to draw into this. You want to search this out all the time. 3 Crescent. A perfect opener. You end up Crescent, Secret Master in the grave, Tower, Fate. Fate, activate, banish 3. Loop Fate, you have an empty grave. Crescent is live. Crescent is live all the time now. Throughout the entire duel, mid-duel, late duel, early duel, Crescent is always live for me. So, drawing this, there's some RNG. If you have this in a Master, there's an RNG involved. You could go Fate. If you activate Crescent, and then you go, Secrets Master Fate. There's a high chance that you get the Fate. There's not much you can do about it. So if you get the Fate, it sucks, but you get the Master, you have another chance, and then at least you're resolving a Fate with 2 engrave, or you're getting a tower in the hand. I hope I'm making sense to you guys. It all makes sense in my head. But yeah, Crescent, I need to play at 3. You need to play it at 3. To Eternity. If you lose this one, if you play 1 and you lose it, it gets banished because of a Fate. Because if you're gonna lose the duel, you have an Eternity in the grave. You didn't get a chance to loop it yet, and you have a Fate set, right? And you're gonna lose the duel if you don't banish this Eternity. It's gone. You're done the rest of the duel. You just need to play 2 of this card. It's too vital to your game to only play 1 and risk losing it. And then 3 secrets. I mean, it's self-explanatory as 3 Magician. Wow, we're at 11 minutes already. I'm sorry about that, guys. If you're still watching, perfect. Thank you. Hope you're learning something. Sorry about the long video. 2 Wing Blast. 3 is a little bit much. You're playing the 2 dualities, so you can dig into the deck a little bit. So when you play the dualities, it does allow you to, play, not play 3 essentially. You can do away your Crescents. You can do away your Priestess. Optimally, you do away your Worlds. It all depends on the situation, but I mean, Wing Blast, it loops them a turn, it gets rid of a boss monster, and it helps you. It makes your Worlds alive, makes your Priestess alive. 1 Compulse. This card is just fantastic. It's this card, but no condition, so it's great. 1 Warning and 1 Bottomless. I mean, they go hand in hand. You just want to protect yourself. Torrential. I mean, you set Torrential. They play into it a lot, honestly. More importantly, most of the time you're going to torrent away a Magician, something not too important to you. 2 Chain. I don't play the Veilers in the main board. I prefer to stop the attack and be able to have a Veiler. Just my player preference. I prefer Chain over it. There's some other minor reasoning behind it. In the side deck, I mean, side decks are pretty set to your local. I mean, you really want to make your side around what you're playing against, because that's what's going to make you win. Your side deck is for, actually siding. If you're siding against Prophecy, if you have a side deck built around Prophecy, I have 9 cards for Prophecy in there. That's because I have 2 mirrors at my local, and they're probably one of my. I'd rather be prepared for them, but if your side is Prophecy heavy, and your entire local is dragons, you're gonna side in maybe two Kaikos, like, you want to build your side to what you have. However, I play 3 Veilers because Magicians, there's random rogue decks, and Veilers really good against them. 2 Kaikos, it's great against dragons, it's great against Spellbooks, so it's an overall great card. 3 MSTs, great against Dragoonity Dragons, great against the Mirror. It's just amazing. D Fisher, Dragons all the way. I mean, I hate dragons, so 2 Retorts for the Spellbook Mirror. This card just wins games when you resolve it. 2 Decree, Chain Burn, other random rogue decks that are just super trap heavy. D Prison. I have 2 Watt players, so I was actually siding 2 D Prisons, but I had to make room for a 3rd Veiler. But D Prisons, there for that, and then the Lone Soul Drain because the card's really good. In here, the only thing that I'm changing is I'm adding an Armory Arm. I want to have access to every level, so I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 8, 8. Stardust is probably going to come out. Deck Seeds I'm pretty happy with. There's not much to be changed. I honestly, I don't have a Dracossack. I don't have a Big Eye. If you have them, great, side them. But for me, I'm not going to put the money out there because I'm going to go into it probably 2 times with this deck in my entire life of it. Alright, but yeah, I want to definitely cut this before we hit 15 minutes. As always, if you have any suggestions, any questions, anything at all, feel free to bug me. I'm happy to help. If you made it this far, you're a champ. And hopefully you learned something. I mean, you're obviously watching this video this long because I am informative to you, so that's good. or you're just, I don't even know. Anyway, before I start rambling forever, 15 minutes. Thanks for watching. See you guys.